Gotta go home, change clothes, go visit the oncologist. Then go back home, put my work clothes on, come back up to the shop, finish doing my wiring on the trailer. Since the Studebaker is 6-volt positive ground, and I had my trailer wired up to pull my little Toyota pickup or my 3/4 ton truck, which is 12-volt negative ground. 12-volt negative ground don't coincide with the 6-volt positive ground. So I put me some 6-volt bulbs in the tail lights. Now I am isolating all the marker lights and the tag light from the tail lights, and I'm going to hook them up, all the marker lights and tail light that is, to the battery that's on the trailer. And I just have to remember to hook them up whenever I start to go somewhere at night. So I'll have marker lights and a tag light. The guys that built the teardrop was a aircraft pilot and his father. They did an excellent job of building it, but every light that's on it, they run both the negative and positive wires from the battery. So the trailer itself was not grounded to any of the lights. That kind of threw me a curve when I was trying to hook up these marker lights. I got it figured out. Just put me a jumper wire from the negative terminal on the battery to the body on the trailer. Got to stop by O'Reilly's, get me a roll of 16 gauge red wire. And a box of butt connectors. Insulated butt connectors. I'll have plenty of uninsulated butt connectors that I use with when I'm soldering a wire and using heat shrink. But I'm using butt connectors this time, so I want to use insulated butt connectors, because this is going to be a 12-volt wire that I'm running. after I get out of the doctor's office and get back home and put my work clothes back on, I'm going to have to drive one of my trucks back to the shop because I got a bunch of garbage around the house. Got to be thrown in the back of the truck and hauled up to the dumpster at the shop. I sure do hate driving my truck. Either one. I got two trucks. Got a real nice 94 Toyota pickup, standard cab, that I just got through rebuilding the engine in. It's running real good. Got an 82 GMC with a dump bed on it. You can't even tell it's a dump bed until you raise the bed up. I've got a 4.8 with a 4L80E transmission in it. It's a real nice setup, but that 4.8 just don't have the torque that a 6.0 would. Those 6.0s, they're torque monsters. I like to have one of them in it. I don't pull a heavy load that much, so I guess I'll be satisfied with that 4.8. I went to North Carolina pulling my little street rod trailer with an 82 GMC with a 4.8 to get this car and bring it back home to Douglasville, Georgia. It pulled it all right, except on a long, heavy hill over there on I-20 in East Georgia. You had to drop it on back down into third gear to get over that hill. It just was, that 4.8 just wasn't strong enough in fourth gear. I believe they got these red lights timed to catch me every time I come up to one. And I think they got them set where they last red longer than they're supposed to. There's another bad situation right there. Chick-fil-A. About noontime, at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, there's so many people lined up there, they got traffic blocked out on the highway. They ought to do something about that. But I don't know who they is. This is the first time that I have ever been at this intersection where I had to wait on the car to go by before I pulled out. Times, they are changing. We're getting so crowded around here. I don't know what's going to happen. Situation like this right here is where I love this hill holder. You sit here with a clutch in, your foot off the brakes, and when it's time to go, you just release the clutch and go on. Like this right here. If this bus will ever get out of my way, I can go on. Oh, he was afraid he was going to turn it over going around that sharp curve. Oop, got a caution light here. Just made it. Before I started pulling that teardrop of this little Studebaker, I thought I was going to have to keep it out of overdrive. But it turns out the Studebaker pulling that little teardrop is just fine with overdrive transmission. This little 232 engine, 373 rear end, you can drop down to 15 or under 20 mile an hour in high gear and still just pull right off. Got a little rattle up under my dash there. That's bugging the crap out of me, but every time I go to work on the Studebaker, I forget about it. I'm always working on something else. I'll get to it eventually. Not much of a rattle. It sounds like a metal wiring connector laying against a bracket. It just vibrates when you hit a bump. I'll figure it out and fix it one of these days. See, this is what I'm talking about, a red light. They always catch me and they just last too long. I want you to look at my turn signal indicator. Blue. I like that. This car didn't have a rear view mirror on the passenger door. I got one from Stephen Allen's Studebaker parts last week and put it on here. It's a convex mirror. I really like that, especially when you're backing up. You can see where you are close to the curb or not. If you're parking, that in conjunction with this camera on the back of the teardrop, a great improvement. Here we go. I don't know if y'all can hear that little rattle that's up under my dash over the roar of the rear end, but it's disturbing and it's going to be very easy to fix, I'm sure. I'll stop back here and let these other cars come out. Don't want to block the intersection. Funny thing is, I have done this 20 or 30 times trying not to block the intersection, and every time the light turns green and we all go before the light turns red, making me block the intersection if I was pulled up behind pulled up behind the car in front of me. I made that caution light, which is unusual. Do you know what that satellite, that sound, that rattle up under my dash sounds like? Sounds like the instrument bulb inside my clock has fallen out and is just laying down in there and rattling when I hit a bump. What you think it is? Leave a comment in the comment section. I don't know where else you'd leave it, but that's where you're supposed to leave it. When I was getting this Studebaker ready to pull the teardrop, I put disc brakes on the front of it. I found a rotor that would fit over the original Studebaker hub. And that's the rotors I've got on the front. I built my own bracket to hold the caliper. The man at the parts store at O'Reilly's let me take a half dozen different calipers and see which one fits best. I don't use GM intermediate calipers. They're too small. You can't put a big enough pad on. I use the D52 type GM caliper, and I found that a 74 Buick Apollo works the best. Where the rubber hose goes onto the caliper, the banjo fitting, and the bleeder screw are all in the right place and angled at the right direction. For pads, I used 3/4 ton Chevrolet and GMC pads, brake pads. The metal part is the same as the regular D52s, but the lining goes all the way out to the end of the metal pad, whereas the D52 pad, the lining is shorter than the metal part of the pad. That 10% difference in the length of the lining makes a 10% difference in the braking power. Oh, look here. They caught me a green light. I see a few dark clouds up there. Maybe we'll get some rain this afternoon. If you watch the first video I made with this Studebaker, you will see that it's not afraid of a little bit of rain. Last Saturday, I drove it quite a bit in the rain. Made a video of it. That video is Studebaker, Jerry Studebaker, #1. I guess I'll put the Studebaker in the garage when I get down here. Roll up all the windows. When I first got the Studebaker, I was leaving it parked in the garage with all the windows rolled down. Went out there one morning to get in. That damn cat was laying in the back seat asleep. I don't like it. It's not my cat. He or she or whatever it is just showed up here a couple of months ago and made herself at home. I wish somebody would trim that fir tree there so I can see around that curve while I get my mail. Junk mail as usual. I've got electric garage door openers on both of these doors, but we had a lightning storm one day and it fried the electric eyes that keeps the doors from coming down on an animal when it's standing in the doorway. And I ordered another one from Amazon, couldn't get it to work, so I sent it back. Any of you guys know how to wire these doors up where they don't need that electric eye? Everybody around here and the animals around here are smart enough not to get hit by a closing garage door. Okay, I'm going to turn y'all off now. Thanks for listening. Bye.